Joe, can he hit a 27-yard chip shot? Because that's what Moody missed.
He's money on that, man. And really, all joking aside, like, he's pretty money from like 49 in.
Nice.
It's just this game has changed so much, as you guys know, and we got guys banging like 64-yarders. I like Eddy Piñeiro. If you look over his 3 seasons in Carolina, they were very solid, to the point where third most accurate field goal kicker of all time.
Well, the Niners got a new kicker. Wave Jake Moody. Bye-bye. See you later. Like, when they say waved, I actually think of them like waving goodbye to him. And that's what 49er fans are doing right now. See you, Jake. Good luck in your future endeavors.
Stop it.
But they brought in another kicker who performed last year pretty well with the Carolina Panthers, Eddy Piñeiro. And I'm looking at his stats right now, Joe, and I'm wondering why he's not currently on the Panthers. He was 22 of 26 overall, 7 of 7 from under 30 yards, between 30 to 39 yarders, 8 of 9, 40 to 49, 6 of 8. And then 50 plus, he only had 2 attempts, but he was 1 of 2. Like, why isn't he there? So we'll ask Joe Person about that. But again, I'm just looking at the numbers because that's all you can do. It's pretty cut and dry as a kicker. Looks like he's a successful kicker. So let's see. That's literally you're like literally anyone but Jake. I think how most Niner fans are feeling right now. So we'll talk to Joe Person about it shortly. So Eddy Piñeiro, your thoughts?
I don't know. We'll see. I don't have strong thoughts.
I don't have a strong opinion.
I was listening to Joe Nedney, former kicker for the Niners, who played on 8 different teams, and he was discussing how for a lot of kickers, and I'm sure it used to be this way for some of the quarterbacks as well, because Steve Young has discussed this, Jim Plunkett has discussed this, Rich Gannon, Kurt Warner. It's not this way now because of the way the sport is, but for a lot of these kickers, they have to learn how to be a pro and how to deal with, I either make the kick or I don't. And I only can focus on myself and not worry about the outside noise. And when I make a miss, how do I deal with that? And when I make a kick, not to get too high on it. And he had to learn how to be a professional. That was really interesting to me. And he was talking about how you have to go through this crucible of failure to be able to come back on the other end hardened by it.
And he's actually no stranger, Eddy Piñeiro, by the way, to replacing a much maligned kicker, because he was the guy that replaced Cody Parkey of the Chicago Bears. Remember the double doink Cody Parkey? Eddy Piñeiro was the guy that replaced him. So he's played on the Bears. He's played with the Jets, and obviously most recently with the Carolina Panthers. Speaking of the Panthers, we are joined now by Joe Person, covers the Panthers for The Athletic, and he joins us now. Joe, good morning. You're on with Joe Spadoni and Joe Shasky, so we got all the cups of Joe on right here on the Morning Roast. All right, let's just get right into it. We say goodbye to Jake Moody here in San Francisco. We bring in Eddy Piñeiro. Why isn't he on the Carolina Panthers? Because I'm looking at his season last year, Joe, looked pretty solid.
Yeah, honestly, if you look over his 3 seasons in Carolina, they were very solid, to the point where he's, the third most accurate field goal kicker of all time, behind Justin Tucker and Harrison Butker. So that's a pretty good list. The couple things were at play here in Carolina. He got here in 22. That was like 2 or 3 head coaches ago, and a different GM ago. And so I think Dave Canales and his special team staff in particular, Eddy wasn't really their guy, and I think they were fine with him. And obviously they liked his accuracy. They did not really trust Eddy's leg strength. Piñeiro is a guy, like, if they were down there, just past midfield and looking at like a 55-yarder versus punting for field position, they almost invariably punted, unless the game was on the line. And so Piñeiro, you go look at his stats, like, he did not get many 50-plus tries, certainly not last year when Canales' staff came in, and it really did, as I said, it came down to them not having much faith in his distance.
Joe, can he hit a 27-yard chip shot? Because that's what Moody missed over the weekend.
He's money on that, man. And really, all joking aside, like, he's pretty money from like 49 in.
Nice.
It's just this game has changed so much, as you guys know, and we got guys banging like 64-yarders way through the. Yeah, it's just gotten to be like every other position, bigger, stronger, faster. Faster, not obviously an issue here, but. I like Eddy Piñeiro. I thought he's a pretty mild, mellow kind of dude. I never felt like the lights were too bright for him. Now, the lights in San Francisco are a little brighter than in Charlotte, especially where these two franchises are currently. But I'm glad to see him get another shot here.
Okay. You're talking about bright lights. Are there any moments that might stand out to you in terms of clutchness or failing to deliver?
Yeah, he won the game in Germany last year with a game-winning kick over the Giants, which was that was kind of like the Panthers and Giants Super Bowl. I mean, neither team was going anywhere, and it was late-ish in the season in November, and they drove down. And again, it wasn't like 57 yards. I want to say it was like maybe 48 or 49. And he made it, and it was a neat moment for him, and got carried off the field by his teammates. And I don't remember. I'm sure he missed a kick with the game on the line, and I'm sorry, I'm getting old and forgetful, so I don't remember the particulars. But more often than not, Eddy Piñeiro was pretty clutch for this team.
I mean, in fairness, Joe, the Carolina Panthers haven't really had any like high stakes games the last couple seasons. Although that one with Baker Mayfield, right? They almost kind of made the playoffs. Steve Wilkes was the interim. Was he there for that season?
Yeah, that was his first year.
Okay.
And so, right, they fired Matt Rule early on after a loss to the Niners, actually, where the San Francisco fans took over Bank of America Stadium.
And they took Christian McCaffrey, too, that year.
They did. But at any rate, yeah, that was his first year here, and it was. I just remember having conversations like this among media members, and even with some people in the organization, and it was like, anytime you talk about that stat, which I mentioned with Justin Tucker and Harrison Butker, it was like, third all-time, yeah, but look where they're making their kicks from versus where Piñeiro's making his. And, who knows? Maybe having had a little longer off-season this summer, early fall to train, maybe he adds a couple of yards onto his max distance. But that really was the bottom line. And as I said, not really being this staff's guy. Like I said, he played in Eddy Piñeiro's time here, he played for Matt Rule, Steve Wilkes, interim, Frank Reich, Chris Tabor, interim, and then Dave Canales. So he has seen some things in Charlotte.
Hey, Joe, great stuff. We really appreciate your time this morning. Joe Person covers the Carolina Panthers for The Athletic. And what I got from that, Joe, if we just get Robbie Gould 2.0, I'm fine with that as a Niner fan, because Robbie Gould was not some guy with the high, like 55 plus yarders. He's not going to do any of that. But 50 and below, money. I think Niner fans would take that. Would you take that?
Yes. Yes. I can't explain it enough since like Todd Peterson going way back when. Okay. This is who you've had in a row. Joe Nedney. Was Joe Nedney a guy that would kick the 60-yarders? No. But he was money inside 40, basically. 45, 40 yards. Money. All those types of distance kicks. Okay? After him, David Green-Acres. Same thing. Money. Now, he did hit a long one and ended up hurting his hip and his groin and really never was the same. Then they got Phil Dawson. What did Phil Dawson do? Almost the same thing. Just money on anything between like 30, 45, almost up to 50. Then they had who? Robbie Gould. Yep. And what was he? Money on those exact same distances. This is exactly what they need and exactly what they should have. Nobody was like, we need more 66-yard attempts. Nobody. Like, not one Niner fan is sitting here like, you know what? Team me up for more 61-yarders.
Well, I could see why in Carolina that might be a premium, because just getting to the red zone in general for that offense is at a premium. So they're like, hey, if we could just get on the outskirts and get these 55-yarders, we can get a couple more points, and they weren't able to do that. So that might be more of an indictment on the offense and the staff in general than it was on Eddy Piñeiro. And it sounded like it was more just politics, if anything, that they just wanted their guy, because he was, as he's mentioned,
5 coaches, Joe.
5.
He had 5 different coaches.
5.
Think about this. Like, you got Brent Boyer, who's the new special teams coordinator here.
Yeah.
New coordinator. He got his own long snapper, his own punter, and now they got rid of the kicker. Right?
Yeah.
That's just one coordinator. Guy had 5 different coaches.
And obviously, Brent Boyer back in 2021 with who? The New York Jets. So he knows a thing or two about one Eddy Piñeiro.